Hi, this is Randy from the Eric W. Gritsch Memorial Fund, and we're meeting today with Brach Jennings in Germany. Thank you for talking to us about all this. I'd like to ask you a little about what it's like to be over there in Germany right now with the whole COVID-19 situation. It actually was spiking in Germany before it was that big of an influence here in America, and now it's overtaken America in so many ways, and Germany seems to have weathered the storm. What's it been like over there?
Um, so in my Hebrew course, Professor Lapine came in, I don't remember the day, and I'd never seen him looking so intense with such a, I was actually frightened when he came in. I told him that later. I've gotten to know him fairly well since he joined my team, if you will. And he shut us down, and he just said, the course has to end. The building is shutting down. Everybody needs to go home. You know, there were 2 confirmed cases in Tübingen, and so it was, it certainly was scary because
This was January, right?
no, this was March. This was
Oh,
mid-March.
oh, okay.
And so he shut us down, or as I like to say, he killed my Hebrew course, and which was probably good. I think I needed it to be killed. It was it was too much for me at the time, but then it was like a domino effect. The Theologicum, which is what Tübingen calls the theology department, I think we might say as Americans, the Theologicum shut down. Well, then the university canceled all lectures, all exams were postponed, cafeterias were shut, then the library shut. And then, so I live at the Stift, as I've said. Then the Stift becomes basically a ghost town. There's no, we have a kitchen here and so on and so forth. That was shut down. None of the staff were coming, and this is maybe a week or a week and a half after the first couple cases come in Tübingen, and then it escalates further, and the whole town basically just shuts down. And it's like on Sundays, everything in Germany is basically closed. It's obviously connected to the church. I'm not sure what they call it now, but it was like a perpetual Sunday. Except you could go to the supermarket. That was the one difference. The supermarkets were open, and except on Sundays, nothing's open. So on Sunday, it was a triple Sunday, and the rest of the week, it was just like Sunday. And, everybody went home, and I'm walking down Tübingen, and there's nobody here. I'm going back to the Stift. There's nobody here. 130 people here, about 130 students, about. Most of the time, they're about 15. To that time, I don't, somewhere around there, it was a drastically reduced number. And it did get quite lonely for a few days. I called Dr. Maltman, and of course, he had quarantined himself to his home and was receiving no visitors. That made sense. He had been in Westminster before that. He'd given a lecture just the week before that in Westminster Abbey, and 500 people showed up. But fortunately, he was corona safe, thank God. And so, yeah, it got really quiet here. And I spent the first few days kind of, not sulking, but kind of sad and kind of, what am I going to do? And then I went, duh. I'm a doctoral student. My life doesn't change at all. And so I just started plowing through these academic texts that I had on my Kindle. And I got to the point I read 4.5 academic books in 1 week. Just one after the other. And then, I had to take a couple of days off because that was too much. But basically my life since March has been the reading and the studying. And I started, of course, reviewing Hebrew, but then I decided to take the course, which is now meets via Zoom. So that's the other thing that's changing. I'm 32 years old. I started university in 2006, a couple of years in between, 1 year for an internship and 1 year for writing a master dissertation that wasn't really in a building setting, but never had really done much online learning. Here I am doing Hebrew on Zoom. And that's an experience. And but then when I realized that my life didn't really shift so much as a doctoral student, and even the library is closing, which of course was devastating in a way. But we have a library in the Stift. It's actually quite a fabulous library. And I had already said that I had been building a German library over the last year. So I probably have enough reading material to get me through another couple months, even if the place still stays shut, just for my dissertation work. So in that regard, I'm very grateful that that things are okay. The other cause, at least for my own deep gratitude, is when I switched to Tübingen, I had no clue how I was going to pay for this. Tübingen doesn't have any tuition, right? Americans could learn something about that, by the way. There is not a concept of student debt in Germany. My German friends look at me like, what? When I tell them how bad it is in America. I didn't know I was going to pay for this, and I ended up receiving a doctoral fellowship from the Klaus and Simon Stiftung in Hamburg in October, which is 2 years initially, but can be extended to a third year without a problem. And so none of that changes for me. I still receive my scholarship, and so there is some stability. I'm not, starving on the street corner or something, because it could be so much worse, right? I'm not a German citizen, and although I'm feeling very much at home in Tübingen and getting to know it, it's a rather small town, actually. I'm a foreigner. And, and my German is getting so much better than it was a year ago, but it's still not, fluent. That'll take another year and a half or so, maybe 2 years. And then hopefully that'll be ready. So although it is a bit lonely at times, I'm grateful that I'm here and that I was already settled and that I had figured out logistical things before all of this hit. It's certainly something to be appreciative of, so that I can still do the work that I believe I've been called to do.
Thank you for sharing all of this with us today. We wish you health and safety over there, and that your studies can continue, and that you'll be sharing more of these findings with us in the future.
Absolutely. I thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and I wish everyone at the Gritsch Fund health and safety and as much joy as is possible in these difficult times.
Thank you, Brach. Take care.
You too.